Hi, everyone. My name is Richard Young, the creator of this cartoon. I'm not trying to adhere to any particular political ideology, though I must admit I'm probably a little bit right of center in my thinking. With artificial intelligence providing the artistic talent, I've been able to put my thoughts and ideas into these political cartoons. If you find this interesting, I'd appreciate you subscribing to this channel, liking the video, and even sharing it with friends. This cartoon is a little different. It isn't about a headline, it's about an idea. The cartoon is a triptych, 3 panels spanning over 200 years, 3 movements, 3 centuries, but one single idea connecting them all. And above them, a line I wrote myself because I believe history keeps proving it to be true. There is no such thing as the greater good. The greater good is a mirage that perpetually recedes into the horizon. The ends never justify the means because ultimately the means always become the ends. Let me explain what I mean and the historical justification behind it. Start on the left. The French Revolution began with 3 of the most beautiful words ever written on a banner: liberty, equality, fraternity. And within a few years, it had collapsed into the reign of terror. In less than a single year, the revolutionary government arrested around 300,000 of its own citizens and executed some 17,000, most under the blade of the guillotine. They told themselves it was necessary. Robespierre, the man who ran the terror, actually argued that virtue without terror was powerless, that the bloodshed was a kind of mercy because it served the greater good. And here is ironic detail. The terror devoured its own maker. In the summer of 1794, Robespierre was dragged to the very same guillotine, and his head fell into the very same basket as the thousands he had condemned. The tool he built to reach paradise became the thing that destroyed him. The means had become the ends. Now the center, Che Guevara, a face you've seen on 1,000 t-shirts and dorm room posters, a romantic symbol of rebellion. But the real man, after the Cuban Revolution triumphed, was put in charge of a fortress prison where revolutionary tribunals sent men to the firing squad. By various accounts, dozens, perhaps hundreds, often with little that you or I would recognize as a trial. And he was unapologetic about it. The revolution required it, he believed. The greater good demanded it. And on the right, the same idea loose in our own streets. Masked militants who set fires and smash windows and assault people, all in the name of fighting injustice. A movement that our own government formally labeled a domestic terrorist organization in 2025. Different century, different flag, exact same reasoning. Our cause is so pure that whatever we do to advance it must be justified. And notice what all 3 have in common. They are not defending anything, they are attacking, aggressors, reaching for a future that does not yet exist and willing to spill any amount of blood to drag the world toward it. And that is exactly the line I want to draw. I'm not a pacifist. I do not believe all force is the same or that violence is never justified. Quite the opposite. When the United States was attacked and pulled into Second World War, taking up arms to defeat fascism wasn't merely defensible, it was righteous. And when the American colonists took up muskets to defend their liberty against a distant crown, they were right to do it. Defending yourself, your family, your country, your freedom against those who would take them by force is always a justifiable means. So why is the soldier at Normandy honorable and the revolutionary at the guillotine not? Here's the key, and it's the whole point. Defensive force has an ending built into it. You fight to stop the attack, and when the attack stops, the fighting stops with it. The means burn themselves out the moment the threat is gone. The soldier's whole goal is to go home. But the offensive violence of the utopian, the man chasing the greater good over the horizon, has no such ending because his enemy is never finally defeated. There's always one more counter-revolutionary, one more heretic, one more building to burn. The paradise never arrives, and so the violence never stops. That is how and why the means become the ends. The question was never whether force can be justified. Of course it can, in defense of the innocent and the free. The question is what you're using it for. Be deeply suspicious of anyone who takes up the sword not to defend what is, but to force into being some perfect world that isn't. because that world never comes and the sword remains. Let me leave you with the hard part. The tyrant and the defender often reach for the very same word, defense. Every aggressor in history has claimed he was only protecting his people. So how do you tell the real thing from the counterfeit? Is the test whether violence is meant to end or to remake the world? And for our own moment, the people breaking windows and lighting fires in the street tonight, are they defending anything at all or building one more time the mirage that has burned so many before them? Let me know in the comments. Please subscribe, give it a like, and share it with someone who loves a good argument. Until next time, keep thinking for yourself.